Okay, first of all, I want to thanks to Bernie that has been my mentor in this occasion, and really appreciate the comments and suggestions for improving this presentation. It has a special a special moment for me in the sense that it's the first presentation that I will do I have done in English. So perhaps I will be a little bit nervous. So I sorry for that in the next minutes, but I will try to do my best, and I hope you to enjoy this as I will do. And let's go. Um, just a short introduction. I'm Nacho Cardenal. I'm external BPO in the sense of automating processes and related with financial area, planning, analysis, the part of controlling. And also I'm trainer of Excel and Power Query, basically. And since this year, I am MVP in Excel. Um, I think that's because of my YouTube channel that's Influexcel that is in Spanish and has not the biggest one, but has some audience. I think that is the main reasons for getting the MVP. And let's go to the topic. Today, I'm going to try to explain Power Query, and it's based on a real case that I did last year. That is how to connect to external source in the web. In this case, is open data, and they are. We will see energy prices in Iberia, Spain, and Portugal, and we'll see how to solve some problems that were in the previous process and how we fix some part of the process to get one button process that is the the dream of every customer that is asking for an automation. So go definition of the problem. Okay, I have prepared this slide. A is the original point, and B is my proposal, our proposal as a team. So we will see that they were working and they connect to the web. We will see now exactly which is the web. It's an open data web where you can download files with information of the prices of energy. They were saving us documents in a laptop, in a computer, in a folder. So they combine all this information, some kind of manipulation, copy paste for creating an historical, and finally they had an Excel that was the source of a Power BI dashboard. But all of these steps of this part really were complicated in the sense that they were depending on one person that has all the knowledge of the process. So it's a little bit messy. They have been with a loss of information issue during last year, and we will start thinking about how to change and improving this part. And we make this proposal. So first, connect directly Power Query, not downloading the file. Second, and this is the tricky part of this topic, is how to allow, in this case, Excel to save the information and include new refresh with another day, we will see now, without Visual Basic or another code, just using Power Query. And finally, it was the source of the same Power BI. Okay, we are going to see, this is the web where we can access to the information. This is the official organism that is managing energy prices in Iberia. Literally, we have this web where we have all these files that you can access directly. You can click and it will be downloaded. We'll see that the link is just a notebook file, a text file. Okay, it's very simple in the sense of the structure is direct the year, month, day, hour, and the price of the energy. Uh, but they were doing this that I'm doing now. They open this, save as, and they were storing all the files in a folder. So we decide, okay, if we have the link, we can here copy the link. Pom, pom, pom. Aquí, okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Not 1 second. Here. Okay. We are copying the link. So we have this information. We will keep here, and we'll see if we can access directly to this URL. So what we are going to do in this presentation is just focus on this part. We are going to explain how to solve this multi-step process just in one-click process, just for creating the historical and creating. We're going to add two tips or two tricks. That is, with the same structure, you can add comments to the information that you have refresh using Power Query. That's some if you usually, if you don't do anything, if you add some comments, you will lose that information when you refresh again. And we will see in addition how to create a custom function for creating a starting bulk upload, getting all the files in the web. And that's all about the slide. So we are going to the Excel and we are going to develop the case from zero. And that's the point. We have here, this is the URL that we have. And the first part is that we have to connect to this file using the option of Power Query that we have here, that is from web. This is very known option. Simply, you will have here the wizard, and you have to add just the URL that you want to download. This is the same as if we download the file, save as in our computer, and we will access to this structure. That's the one that we were seeing at the text file, and we are going to transform. I'm going to make some very basic transformations because I want to change the name of the fields, because here they have no name. So as you know, this was the year. Here I have the month. We are now in October. The month is 10. Okay. Here I have day, and here I have the hour. We have one price per hour, so we have 24 prices every day, and we are going to get this column, price. Okay. And we are to remove another columns, because for this case, really, we are not interested on that. Sorry, I want to not remove, but select columns. Okay, select columns. Okay. And here we have the connection. So we can change the name because this is very ugly. Web load. Okay, close and load. And now we are accessing directly to this information that is the file that you can access in the web, but we are not downloading that file, and we are getting that in our Excel directly. Okay, so what I want to do now is, I have this URL here. I'm gonna to create a named range in Excel, just URL, okay? Because as we are going to make a lot of refreshes in different days, just for not being changing all the code, we go to this part of here, to the editor of Power Query. And what I want, if I see all the code that is related with this query, I have advanced editor for see the full code. If you see this URL is hard code here, is written directly in the query, but I want this to be depending on the value on the cell. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new query here, new query from blank query, just starting. I'm gonna create this a little bit. Okay, this will be okay equal Excel current book. So what I want to do is to access to the named range that I have created. The first thing that I have to do is okay, I open or use this function, the Excel current workbook, and I have two objects. Web load, that is the output of the first query that I have done. And here I have the named range that I have created, that is URL. So if I go inside this second point, now it's creating some automatic transformation that is making a Power Query. I will delete this step and I will delete this step also because I just want the value. So if I want the value, I can drill down directly with the right button in the mouse, click, and now this query is getting just the value that I have in the Excel. So I can create the name of the query will be URL, and now I can use this value in the in another queries. For instance, I have web load. I can change to web sorry, for advanced editor, and I can change this that was written directly in the query and change it introducing this value that is in the IntelliSense. It's appearing me that is making reference to this query that I have created based on the named range. Okay, so now the result will be the same because I haven't changed anything. Just I have created this connection to the value in the cell and change in the query that value. So I'm gonna to close and load. In this case, I only create a connection because I don't want this to appear in an output here. And what happens now? Now, if I go to the value that I have in Excel, I can change and I want, now this is 25 because day is 25. That is the last refresh that we have done. But now I want day 24. I can change it. Okay. And now I can refresh this. This connection is loading this web load, this connection that we are doing against the web. But now the value is the 24 because has got the value of the Excel cell and is using it for creating the connection. Okay. What happens now? What happens now is I have to delete this. Just 1 second. I want to filter that from the result because when we are getting all the information, we have this row that is empty. So I will take out that. Okay. Okay, I have the steps that we have done until now is we have created this connection with the web. Now we have created a named range with the value of the URL that we want to use, and we have changed the hardcode text of the URL in the query. Okay. What we are going to do now is the tricky part in the sense. Okay, we have now the output of the first query, web load, the connection, and we are going to introduce this output also in Power Query. So we are going to get data from table and range, that because I'm in the table, that is the output. So here I have the output of this query. I'm gonna change the name of the query, historical. Okay. And I can now close and load. And it will create the output of the query that is getting as source the output of the first query. It's a little bit messy, but I think it has it has a reason. Okay, now if I upload this part, okay, I'm gonna change the data. The date here it will be 23. Okay, now I can upload this, refresh. Webload will show us the 23. Historical keeps on being 24 because now it's not related. If I refresh, it will take the result of the first query. Okay. Now we are going to editor and we are going to make a change that is the basis of all the processes. The source of this second query now is the result of the web load. But what I want to do is that this query start in the result of the same query itself. So I will change this and I will say, okay, I want this query to be the same query. Historical. Okay. But now it's the same, but now I have broken the link between the two queries. I can now change the day. I will get now 22. Okay, web load. Now, if I refresh web load, that is the connection to the web, I have the day 22. But now, if I refresh this second query that was based on the first one at the first point, but now it depends on itself, it doesn't change because it is going to itself, it's charging this table and it's including. But what happens if we want to create an historical? What we need to do is this connection to be appended here, and this will be the result of 22 and 23. For instance, I go to historical. I have two steps. Literally, I don't know, just for adjusting. Okay, I'm gonna introduce that this is the field will be text just um, for having the same type of data that we have in our main query. And now I can append queries. I append this information, this new information, web load. We are appending web load to historical. Now, if I close, I will have a new result because now I have web load that is 22 and now is 23. That was the data that we have in the historical table previously. So now if I change here 22 and I include new file and it will be 21 and I upload, refresh, really it's going to include this new information 21, 22, 23 just with Power Query because it's taking into account this table as the source and including using appending the new information that is getting using web load. At the end, web load at this point, we don't need to be output. We can delete this sheet. And we have this point. What happens if we want by error or because we need to refresh again and we charge twice day 21? If I refresh again without changing the data, the result is I will have twice the rows related with 21. If you see, I have 21 until 24 here, and I have another pack of information here. And I have to avoid this. And in this case, really, it was a requirement or a definition that the files that were created are not going to change. So I simply can group by, because what I'm going to do is mode advanced, but basically is I can use more than one field for grouping. So I'm going to include month, day, hour, and the price. the price is the max, for instance, because it will be the same. I have to select one option just for getting a result. Okay. And now I can save. And at this point, we are amending this problem with duplicated loads. Now I only have just one, and if I going to introduce another day, I don't will have this duplication because I'm creating a grouping by. I'm going to include just one step more, that is to creating sorting this table. I want to from zeta to a here, here, and the hour. Okay, it will be so. Just for to be more clear when we are adding new days. Okay, I want to appear the last day here up. So if I go here and I change and decide to refresh with the day 24, and I refresh, those files will appear here because this is the new data that we have included. We have here. But if we refresh again, that was the main problem that we have previously, we will keep only the same rows because we are grouping and we are avoiding the result with duplicated, even we have changed it twice. Okay, that's the first goal of this process. That was to create a solution that that avoid that you have to go to the web, download the file, save as, copy paste for creating an historical. So we have converted these steps in just one refresh mode, and it's very interesting. But we have another requirement. It was okay, but you have on the customer says, okay, I will need to add some comments to this table because I want this to be checked or to be a review of some rows, and I want that every time I refresh, I don't want to miss that information. Okay, we will go and we say comment. We are adding directly in the output of the query a new column, but this column has been added here in Excel, and I can add some comments. I don't know, check, error, review, get. Anyway, you can add the comment that you want. And now this is related with 24. So if I go to 25, and refresh, I'm not going to the future, but the prices are one day in addition, okay? But now this comment that I have introduced it for day 24 now is related with day 25 because here is a column that is added to this table, but if this table is changing, this column remains in the same position. So there is no relation with this value and this value. Even now we are seeing that in the same row, because if I add another row, it will change. Okay. Okay. So what can we do? Go to the Power Query. We have to introduce this column as source of our query. We can go to edit. We have here historical. We have here the source, and now in the source, it's appearing this column that I have created manually in the sheet, and we have here this information. Okay, change type. Okay, I can say this is text. Okay, append query. Now, when I am appending the query with the web load has no comments because it's literally the file that we have downloaded previously. So always the value there it will be null, because if, as you know, when you are appending in Power Query, you are appending using name of the fields. So if you in one of the queries that you are appending have one comment and it's not this column doesn't exist in another query, it will be created, but with null values for the new the query that doesn't have that comment. So now we can group rows, but now I'm grouping, I have choose these fields for grouping by, and this is for the value. So I have to include this column comment, and I have to decide what to do with that. So if I have in my mind that new files doesn't have any comment, I can assure that if I include a new column that I will name as comment, and here I decide to include max, and here is the comment, okay, I always will get the value that has some commentary or some text included. Okay. And sorted rows, okay, there's no problem. So I can keep, and it's going to refresh now this report, historical, and now appears one column that is comment, and here remains the column that I created manually on the right of the table, but now it's comment does because it's the same name. So Excel automatically changed the name because a table cannot have the same name for two columns. But now I can remove this column. I have used it for creating the structure, but now it's not useful for me and can directly delete, because now this column is part of the source of the historical data. So we are going to create in day 21, for instance, some commentaries here. Check. Okay. Okay. Change is end. I don't know. Okay. And now if I add some new, okay, I don't know how to do that. Okay, I'm gonna delete 25 because I have no more days. Because we are in 24. Okay, I delete directly in the historical. So now is the basis, and when I gonna copy these values in 24 also, now if I update the new day for day 25, I suppose that as previously the comment has kept the row that has in the table, now it will has to move down and introduce the new data in this part of here. So I'm gonna to refresh. Okay, refresh. It's refreshing here. Okay, and that's what we were expecting. We have the new day. Everything is blank because it's the first time that this day is coming. And the comment that we have added to previous days keeps the relation with the row where the comment was introduced. For sure, if now I'm including a comment for day 25 and I refresh again day 25, as we have decided to get the value of comment that was the max, it doesn't change and we don't miss this information. Okay. And that was the main part of this process, in the sense, if we can go back 1 second and go here to the diagram, this was the idea. We have connection directly with the cloud, with the web. Here we are, this this arrow means recursive query, in the sense that we are creating and even we can introduce information here, and directly it goes to Power Query or any source that you need. You can explode it directly in Excel or creating a text file for including in another system, whatever. Okay, and that's the main part. But at this point, they say, okay, this is nice, but we need to upload all the historical that is in the web, and we don't want to be going to this data and say, okay, 25 refresh, 24 refresh, 1 of July refresh, 2 of July, okay. And we decide, okay, this is okay for now to the future, but if you want to create a starting point of information, we are going to create the ability of this process to create a bulk upload of all the days you want to introduce. And as we know that this URL is the same always and only change this part of here, in the sense that we are defining year, month, and day, we are going to create this. Okay, first of all, we are going to create, I don't know, in this case, just for not to be waiting a lot of time, I create 10 days. Okay, I will say from el 1 October 24. This will be the date. Okay, so now I can create sequence. Wait, I'm gonna to make it bigger. Okay, it sequence. How many days? I don't know. 10 days from one column. It's starting at this day, and step is it will be -1, in the sense that I want from 1st October, last day of September, just a list for creating a bulk option. So I have this, that in Excel, date is number, and I want to change this to be formatted as I want. Literally is year. I have changed the language of the office, but really the format change that I have to use even is in Spanish. So I have to use A for the year. Here I have this combination that this is the part that I want to be changed every time in the URL, and I can concatenate now. I can go here. I'm gonna to copy all of this until here. I'm going to do this. Okay. So I can add this and this, and finally I have a little string here, .1. Okay, and I have all the URLs that belongs to every day. Each day has its own correspondence link here. Yes. Okay, so I will need this to be executed for every day, just for having an historical. And what I'm gonna do is, okay, for sure I have here 10 days, but if I can make this depending on this. If you want more days, you could do you can change this, and you can create so many links as you want. But at this point, for not to be here, because every row that we are going to include is going to go to the web, read the information, transformation, include. Okay, and I'm going to create here this branch, and I'm going to introduce this in Power Query. Go to data, from table or range. In this case, it's not a table, but it's a range. I can click here, and this information that I have created, in this case in Excel range, I'm uploading to Power Query. I can say URL list. Okay. And I have the same information that I have in the Excel. But what happens now? Here, what I need to do is these steps that I have done just for one connection to be repeated in every row. Yes. So I can duplicate this query, duplicate, and I will name it load function web. Okay. And I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna to transform this that is a statical query in a function that I can use in Power Query. So for creating a function in Power Query, you simply open editor and you create parentheses. What we are going to need, just an URL is the parameter that we need for executing all of this, because this is the only part that is changing for every row, because the rest, if the file has always the same structure, there is no change. It will apply the same steps every file. So I just only have to change. I say, okay, this function needs one parameter that will be text in this case, and okay. So now I don't have a query, I have a function. So if I can introduce here, just for testing this function, a URL, I have selected this, and this one is nothing, sorry. Okay, invoke, and okay, here I'm gonna paste this one, for instance. Okay, this one as sample. Yeah, and I invoke, I have the execution, I have the result, a table that is the result of this function. Okay, now I'm gonna delete this, but now I have this URL list, and I want that the parameter for each row is this URL, complete URL, that is related with every day I want to load in my Excel. So I can add a new column, custom column, and I will say prices table. This is the name of the column. And now I can use the function that I have created previously in Power Query. So I can write it because it's in the IntelliSense, because I have created it. And the parameter that the function is expecting is URL. And as I have the URL in this field, I can use this field, close, and now, okay. So I'm going to apply this function each row for the parameter column one, that in this case is the URL that I want to work with. Now it's starting the process. What is doing now? Now is, okay, you want a new column, and you say that in every column you need to get the value in column one. This value is going to be the parameter of the function load function web, and I'm going to do all this work for every URL that you are going to you will have in the table. In this case are 10 days, but it could be, depending on the coffee you can you can bring waiting, it can be 100. There is no limit. Bueno, the limit of the time you want to wait. And this is the most the part where you have to understand the process, in the sense that we have connected for each row it's sending different URL, and the result is a table. And if I click here, I'm gonna to make bigger the zoom. Okay, and now here, okay, I have this field doesn't have a value, a scalar, or a simple text value. It has a table as response. And this is day 1st of October, month day 1. But if I get 28 September, I have the values of 28 September. So what I have to do now is combine all these tables for having the full view of all the loads that I have defined in the table of days that I want to load. Okay, so I'm going to go here. This is the button that has Power Query for expanding information. Okay, just click. And now we have all the information for all the days as a table. So I can remove this first column that is not useful at this point for me. But I have got all the information that I have defined in the days that I had in the table, just in one click, just in the table. So now I can keep this information. I will have a new sheet where all the results are saved. It's getting data. And the idea is, okay, we have created a process for working from now to the next days, the next months. But we also need to have the historical data, not of the process, but the reality that is in the web. So, okay, you can load this information because now we will have this data that is being refreshed in a bulk mode all the days in one shot, and we are going to copy paste directly at this point because I don't need to create any automation just for one event that will only happen one day. So I have historical. I can add this to our table. It has the same result. And now I can keep working on this table, and this will be the tool that where I can have a global view. So in this way, we have solved all this information, not even what happens from now to the future, but we can link all the new information with the last information because we can upload it in a bulk mode without having one people refreshing, changing, because it's open to spending time in no value task, and it's open to mistakes in the sense that, okay, you have forgotten one day everything. And okay, this was everything I was including this topic. Just for summarize, we have seen how to connect Power Query to external web source using the standard mode that it has Power Query. At this point, we have created a little bit, it's like a tip that is, okay, the value that you can use for the web is not necessary to be hard code in the query. You can use any information that you have in the spreadsheet, in any sheet, for getting that information and include it in the query. We have created recursion in the query, in the sense that the query is itself in a source and an output, and it allows to create this kind of benefits that is creating an historical and even create or adding information. In this case, it was comment, but it can be anything. And we can keep that information even if we are refreshing every day, whenever. And finally, we have take profit of this work that we have made for transfer one file and being able to apply these transformations to all the files in just one shot, because we have created a custom function that really in Power Query is a really practice mode of taking advantage of the possibilities of the M code that that is sometimes is a little bit of a barrier to access it, because really Power Query has a user interface that allows to make a lot of transformations. but really with a little bit more. Just in this case, we have created enclosed for creating a function and apply to a custom function. We can take advantage of saving a lot of times just for reuse the code and just for applying it in a bulk mode, and that's all. Or at least I don't know what it's about. Oh, I think it's good of time. 45 minutes is the idea that I had, just for make some left some time for questions and answers. I don't know, but questions for sure.